Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Vivo Energy Ghana, the exclusive distributors and marketers of Shell branded fuels and lubricants. We are elated to have you super ladies joining us for the very first She'llFix virtual engagement series from across the country and the world at large. Now, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for taking the time to join us to learn how to fix it safely and confidently with skill. My name is Eunice Asiedwa, Communications Executive of Vivo Energy Ghana. In line with our company's commitment to our values, especially care, this is the very first step we are taking towards building a community and network of like-minded women who are passionate and daring enough to challenge the status quo within the automotive space. But while we wait for others to join, I would like us to have a chit chat about the launch of She'llFix. And just in case it's your first time hearing the word She'llFix, what it's all about. So She'llFix is an initiative by Vivo Energy Ghana. Because we care about our customers, we decided to tailor this very project towards female drivers who want to know more about car care or maintenance. So this is an opportunity for you to know what sound your car is making, what right questions to ask the mechanic who is coming to fix your car, or even fixing it yourself, because you will be empowered to do so. Prince, I would like us to have a little engagement. What do you think about the She'llFix launch that happened last month?
The She'llFix launch was amazing. I think the comments I gathered from colleagues and even friends who came along, they told me that, oh, I never knew the car, we need to even look at viscosity grade. We never knew there were types of oils, and we thought all oils are oils. We never knew we had to even use coolant in our car. So it was really educative for them, and they really enjoyed it.
You know, the important part of this is the fact that you don't need to own a car or be a woman driver to want to be part of this network. I think knowledge is power. And as long as you have the drive to do that, anyone at all can be a part of this, specifically women drivers. Because it's been too long where this very space has been seen or considered as a male-dominated space.
That's true.
And we always say what men can do, women can do better. But it looks like when it comes to car care or maintenance, we are always leaving it to the men.
That's true.
If you go to our Shell site, you see men in overalls working on cars and fixing stuff. But I think it's high time women get empowered with the right knowledge and skill to do some of these things themselves. What do you think, Prince?
That's true. That's very true. Normally, whenever we go to our Shell service station, whenever we're having our activations, a lady comes in, you tell her that, oh, madam, your engine oil is due for change, or you need to use coolant or something. The first thing he says that my husband will come and fix it. So kindly leave it to my husband. But as you said, it's high time women also get to be mindful about the things they use in their cars and ensure that their car is always on point every time they're on the road.
And I'm excited about today's topic, talking about lubricant. I'm not sure a lot of women drivers know the right lubricants to use for their vehicles.
Very true.
They mostly leave that to the mechanics or the lube attendants.
That's true.
And if you're not careful, some people may just give you the wrong lubricant, especially if you're not buying it from a Shell shop, which is the right place for you to get it. Shell premium lubricants are the best.
That's very
Would
true.
you agree?
This time it's not just about women, but it's everyone.
Okay.
Even the drivers themselves don't even know the right lubricants to use for their cars. So today's session is going to be a very eye opener to know or tell the drivers or to tell the customers that use this lubricant for this car, use this for this car. So it's going to be so exciting. I'm already excited.
Brilliant initiative by Vivo Energy Ghana. I am super excited. I think that as we were prepping or creating the buzz or hype for this project towards the launch, we had Vox Pop, where we went out there to speak to employees or even customers to find out from them the signs and signals on their dashboard. And it will surprise you the amazing and interesting responses that were coming. People could not even identify the overheating sign. I mean, how could you be driving and not know that? But it's normal because we've always left that to the men. We've always felt like it's not my space to know this.
That's true.
But how convenient would it be that you're driving, you see a sign on your dashboard, and you quickly get out of your car to fix it?
That's true.
Rolling up your sleeves and getting it done.
That's
without even waiting or calling a mechanic.
You know, you don't have to blame people so much for not knowing the signals on the dashboard, because mostly, should I say, people are just clean to just moving the car.
Yes.
As far as it's moving,
Yes.
that's the ultimate dream.
Yes.
Anything which happens to the car, unless the car is broken down,
Yes.
then they get mindful. "Oh, my car needs to be checked." But I think today we're also going to do that as well.
That's very good. One of the very key things that I have learned over the years is that as a driver, whether you are a man or a woman, you need to pay attention to the sound of your engine or the
That's very
sound
true.
that emits from your car, because it may be communicating something to you that you're not aware of. And if you're not vigilant enough to pay attention to that sound, you might find yourself in a very, 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 very difficult or challenging situation.
That's very true. You see, a car becomes the baby of the driver. And I know for babies, they have different sounds at different times. Whenever they are hungry,
Yes.
they have a different cry. Whenever they are in pain, they have a different sound. So same thing. Whenever a car, the sound is very critical. So whenever you are moving, my car moves vroom, but now it's moving croak, croak, croak. Then you need to realize that there's something wrong.
Yes, that is a very classical reference for that. I'm sure by now we have a number of people joining today's webinar, and we can proceed
Yeah.
to the main meal. We've had appetizers, we've had some starters,
Good.
and so now let's proceed to the main.
I think before we start, the program was advertised that Kofi is going to be on the show.
Yes.
But I think Kofi cannot make it. So my name is Prince Butchie, and I will be standing in for Kofi.
I was just about getting to that.
Oh,
But anyways,
okay.
yes, we'll do the needful and let our audience know what's happening. Today, as advertised, we will be exploring carbon cleaning versus smart lubrication. This topic is aiming to help you discover how the right lubricants can help you prevent engine damage. Now, before we move on, I'd like to quickly take you through how the session is going to be run. So we have been speaking about signs and symbols on the dashboard. We are going to begin with the knowing the signs on your dashboard segment. We will quickly transition to the presentation by our facilitator, and then we narrow it down to the Q&A segment. So please stay tuned and stay glued. We are going to be showing you a few signs on the dashboard with their names so you get yourself acquainted. Just when you're on the road and you see a flashing sign or a flashing light, you would know what it is telling you. If you need to call a mechanic, if you need to fix it yourself, whatever it is that you need to know, you would understand better. So please keep your eyes glued to the screen.
Okay, so these are the very few we can say. And last but not the least, the engine temperature. that the water is going to evaporate. Whilst it evaporates, it causes rust, and in that moment, it's not going to properly release heat outside the car. So whenever you see the overheating signal, it means that you need to park your car, kindly do a very safe opening of the reservoir tank. Don't open it immediately. Wait for a very long time to cool down. You open it, maybe even don't even move it. You
seeing some of these signs for the first time. Prince has already mentioned it and has already introduced himself, but I think it's worth mentioning again. We advertise Kofi Boache, our frontline technical support at Vivo Energy, as a facilitator. But just as mentioned earlier, due to some reasons beyond our control, Kofi Boache is currently pretty much indisposed. But in his stead, we have a very capable person to replace him. That is Prince Boche, our frontline technical support. So please, we're encouraging all of you to engage with us, take some notes, share your thoughts and your questions in the comment section. We will do our best to respond to as many of them as possible before the end of the session. Stay glued and stay glued to your seat, whilst we move on, and then let Prince take over. Prince, over to you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Eunice, for the baton. So today's conversation or today's talk or virtual series is going to be based on emission control and smart lubrication. Right. I think one will ask why the need for emission control and smart lubrication. In the end, I hope that we're able to really appreciate it, because I'm going to make it very, very brief, very simple. You don't need to be a technical person. You don't need to have any specific background to enjoy this session. Whatever your background is, whether you any background at all, can really sit in this session. So let's delve into the agenda for today. First on our list is the need for emission control. I think but in light of this modernization, we are building, we are kind of manufacturing cars, we are doing so many modern things. But in light of all these things that we are doing, it comes with so many emissions. If viewers don't know, whenever you see a cement coming out as a final product goes through a lot of heat transformation, and it comes out with so many emissions. Whenever we are building, we need metals as well, those iron rods. It comes with so many emissions. Now, the question is, what is the concern with these emissions? The emissions currently in the atmosphere is causing a lot of serious damage. Before electricity is being produced, it comes with emissions right from the first stage of production. And if you don't know, SF6, which is a very potent greenhouse gas, causes the maximum global warming. And scientists tell us that it takes 100 years for it to decompose, or for the lifetime for that SF6 is 100 years. The sulfur hexafluoride. So right now, even in electrical or going on electrical, which we think is a clean energy, is giving emissions as well. Now, much more. So one will say, okay, then let's go solar. For the solar, having to produce the solar modules or the solar cells also releases this emission we call the NF3, which is the nitrogen trifluoride. Very, very harmful. And all these emissions are really killing the environment now. The tornadoes we hear of, the wildfires, and all the, should I say, the misfortunes we hear. In this light, there is a big need for us to control emissions. So already, Vivo Energy has launched the Green Ghana campaign. We also gave these bottles out to reduce the use of plastics, or to reduce the emissions. Currently at our site, we've employed the use of the solar models. And should I say, the cement, the car manufacturing and everything, they are doing everything to control emissions. So we are moving on to modernization. Now let's narrow the view on our next slide. As Vivo Energy, along with all the green attempts to now reduce emissions, what can we do on our lubricants? What can we do on our fuels? So on the picture on the right, if care isn't taken and the vehicular emissions are not controlled, this is what will happen. Our cities are going to be engulfed in a fog. So they produce something which we call the catalytic converters. Now, what a converter does is that whenever the exhausts of the vehicles are very bad, containing the sulfate, the nitrate, which are very harmful to the environment, now these converters are going to convert these harmful emissions into more friendly ones, such as carbon dioxide and water, which is very eco-friendly. A converter is an example of a classic group of devices we call post-treatment devices. What do you mean by post-treatment devices? As I gave in the converter, post-treatment devices generally convert harmful emissions from the vehicles into a more friendly one. Another example we can talk of is the selective catalytic reduction, which basically also converts the nitrate, the sulfate, and all these harmful emissions into a very friendly ones, into nitrogen, into water vapor, and carbon dioxide. So these devices were working perfectly until we realized a bat. Now, the bat sent chemists, the engineers, the tribologists back to the lab for us to realize what was wrong with these converters. And if you can see in my hand, this is a typical catalytic converter, for those having it so difficult to imagine what a converter is. So this is a typical converter. And if you can see, the front side is blocked. So they realize that as these converters are working in the car, reducing these emissions, with time, they get blocked. And why are they getting blocked? The nitrates, the sulfides, the particulate matters are getting blocked in these converters. So there was a need for a paradigm to now solve the issue of these converters. Else, your car is surely going to break down. So what happened and what are we doing as Vivo Energy or Shell to reduce the blockage of these converters or the post-treatment devices which are working to reduce the emissions in the environment? Our next slide is going to be talking about smart lubrication and emission compatibility. And this is the two-leg solution to how we solved the blockage of these converters and also reduce emissions in our vehicles. One was to go fully synthetic technology on our lubricant. What do I mean by a fully synthetic lubricant? Let me give this scenario. If a footballer is playing on a grass field, of course the footballer is going to feel okay, but with time, what happens to the grass? The grass is going to wither, the grass is going to change color, the grass is going to, grow, you need to weed and everything. But now, that is the natural grass. Man sat down to realize the flaws of the grass and brought in an artificial or a synthetic grass we call the astroturf. Same thing happened for the lubricant. The mineral oils which we use for our lubricant have some flaws. There are some impurities in there. There is, the efficiency or the performance is very low. So what happened is that man went into the lab, looked at the flaws of the mineral oil and improved it into a much better, which we call the fully synthetic base oils. So whenever you hear of any lubricant called a fully synthetic oil, that means that the base oil is fully synthetic. And when they gave rise to the fully synthetic technology, what happened? They also looked at ways to reduce fuel consumption in the vehicles in a way which gave rise to fuel economy. So back then, if you used to fill maybe 50 liters, it takes you about 50 kilometers. Now, with the fully synthetic technology, you are going to be doing a 52 or 55 kilometers, which is going to reduce the use of emissions. That's one. Another one is having to increase the performance rating of the lubricant. What do I mean by the performance rating? Every lubricant has its performance rating. Why do we need a performance rating? A car manufactured in the 1990s will have an oil which might not be necessarily synthetic. It should just be mineral with no much additives. But as the engine technologies now goes ahead in our modernization, it gave rise to much better engines. Now we have the GDIs, we have the VVTIs on our road, and that calls for a higher engine oil specifications in terms of quality. So currently all the fully synthetics are having the best in terms of the petrol. We have the SP. In terms of the diesel, we have the CK. Those are called the APIs of the oil. On the emission front, what did we do to these oils? Remember I told you that there's a converter, and this converter is blocked on the front, as if you can see. And what really blocks the converter, I'm sure you were asking. The components of the oil, whenever they burn, is blocking the converter. The nitrate, the sulfate, the particulate matter is what blocking it. So what can we do as scientists to reduce these emissions? What we did was that we created a low SAP formulation for all our synthetic oils. What do I mean by a low SAP? Low means low, as in something on a reduced level. What does the SAP means? The SAP, the SA means sulfated ash, the P means phosphorus and sulfur. Now, the sulfur and phosphorus comes in to reduce the efficiency of the converter, to reduce the harmful emissions. The SAP comes in to what? Block these converters. So what can we do? As I said, we had to now couple the fully synthetic technology with the low SAP formulation for our lubricant. And when that was done, the converter is going to work perfectly. And at Shell or Vivo Lubricants, we just don't talk. We walk our talk. So what are we doing? to now produce this low sap, fully synthetic technology oils. I'm very proud to say that on your screen, you are seeing two of the most powerful oils, should I say, in the world. So proud to be part of the Vivo Energy or Shell group. Now, what are we saying here? We are saying that in our Helix range, we have the Helix HS8 5W30 ECTC3. Now, this oil is a low sap oil. Whenever I say low sap, as I said, it has, should I say, the content which blocks this converter in a very reduced form. And because they are reduced, they found another method to now ensure its performance. So although it's reduced, but the performance is always on a very high rating. So ECT simply means emissions compatible technology. So this is to say that any vehicle which is using a converter or any vehicle which is using a post-treatment device should not be using any normal engine oil. No. If you are a driver, if you are a car user and you think all oils are oils and you are going to buy any lubricant for your car with a converter or a post-treatment device, you are really damaging your converter. And with time, this will be the nature of your converter. But now, I'm very glad to say that we've brought the low sap oils, which is already in our portfolio. So one is the Helix HS8 ECT5W30. This oil is going to give you value for money by ensuring the fuel economy. This oil has the best API ratings in terms of quality and performance, going to give your car the best vehicle, or should I say the driver experience. And aside all this value proposition on the oils, we are saying that this oil is going to make sure that the emissions in our environment is very low to always keep your converter always clean. And we never brought just one. Amazingly, units, we brought two. So next on top of the HS8 is the Helix Ultra 0W20 SP and having the ACRC3. Now this oil is a much improved version of the Helix HS8 5W30 ECT. In closing, what we are saying is that emissions are very, very, very bad for our environment. And it's so sad that this morning when I was listening to the BBC News, we heard that the Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica has taken 19 lives. And it's very sad. Very, very, very sad. So every vehicle to reduce your emissions must be committed to be using the low sap oils, of which Shell indeed has the Helix HS8 5W30 and also the Helix Ultra 0W20. And I will really, 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 really admonish every car user, apart from using a low sap oil, you need to also get a fuel which has the sulfur levels very low. And once again, I'm proud to say that Shell fuels are really the best of fuels. Aside we having a very low sulfur levels in our fuels, we have also additivized our fuels to give you much value for money. So low sap oils work in hand with a better fuel quality. And of course, this I promise you will give you the best driver's experience. Many thanks to everyone. At this point, we will open for the Q&A session. If there are any questions, if you want to clarify something I said, if you want to ask anything about what I said, you are very, 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 very open to ask any question at all on what we discussed.
That was very insightful, Prince. I have learned a lot from your presentation, and I am certain that moving forward, I am as well educated to know the right lubricants to use for my car, or even educate the next person, the next woman driver or male driver I see, to choose the Shell branded lubricants because they are premium and they are the best on the market.
That's true.
Please, we are open to accept as many questions as you have, and we'll do our best to respond to all of them. I don't know whether you're joining on YouTube or on Facebook. Please share your questions in the comment section. We'll read them out and then respond to them. We also have a teeny bit of surprise for all of you. If you have not joined yet, you don't know what you're missing. We have a surprise package out there. And before I even dive into that, I would just like to receive your questions for now. And once we are done with that, we would reveal what the surprise is. Don't go anywhere because you just might not know what you're missing. So keep your questions coming. While we are waiting for the questions, now this is the surprise. Are you ready? Are you ready? Imaginary, yes. Okay, so we've got 3 Shell coupons that we want to give out. Because we are very generous people as a company, we are giving out 3 Shell coupons. All you have to do is to get the answer right. We've had a very intensive and insightful presentation by our facilitator. We would ask a few questions. The first person to get the response right will be noted down for a free Shell coupon. Now, another surprise is with the fact that very soon we will be launching our new and improved Shell fuels on the market.
Yeah.
Now, on the launch, it's going to be very exclusive, VVIP tickets. So if you get the answers right, you're likely to win yourself a slot among the 3 slots that have been made available for you. I just hope you paid attention to the presentation and you're getting your fingers ready to type in your answers as quickly as you can.
Yes, I think before that, in the comment section, I saw a question that when can I change my, or do I need to change in month, or do I need to? I think there was a comment like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I attend
Yes,
to
you
that?
can go ahead, Prince.
Okay. So whenever it comes to oil change is tied to a lot of things. One, on the type of lubricant you use. So the quality of the lubricant, and as we said here, if it's a fully synthetic, you have the advantage of deriving a very high mileage compared to a mineral oil. So let's assume that the one who asked the question is using a fully synthetic oil. Now, as we said, the oil works in hand with the lubricant. Sorry, the fuel works in hand with the lubricant. So the fuel is burnt to give the power to your car, but the oil becomes the blood of the engine to lubricate every moving part in the engine. So assuming that you have your Helix HACS5W30, if I tell you that our oils can do a 10,000 kilometers without asking you any questions, then I will not be very faithful to you. First, I will tell you to use a very clean fuel. Why am I saying use a very clean fuel? Clean fuel in the sense that the oil goes in to clean every deposit from the burnt fuel. Now what happens is that the cleaning is being done by an additive in the lubricant. And whenever your deposits are so much more, the additives are going to be working and they will get finished earlier. So if I tell you that use drain your oil at 8,000 kilometers and I don't give you the quality of fuel to use, then you realize that maybe your fuel is very bad. At 5,000 kilometers, the additives are going to be depleted. And with that, the oil will just be circulating, doing nothing. And that's why you realize that some oil change comes with a very, very dark oil. Why? Because the quality or the additive were depleted before the oil were drained. 2, the nature of, should I say, the car. If your engine is very, very okay, then you can do, as I said, you can do on a very higher mileage. But if maybe your engine is having a fault, like you don't have any coolant, the engine is overheating, it's going to also oxidize the oil to make it break down earlier, and that will reduce your oil drain interval. So depending on your car and the fuel, then I can advise that do a 5,000 kilometers, do a 7,000, or do 8,000. But this is the note: we don't tie month or duration to oil change. It's a kilometer, because one can drive 5,000 kilometers in 2 weeks. That same 5,000 kilometers, one can do it in 2 months. So if I tell you that drain your oil in a month, then I won't be faithful to you. So always please advise, and every time you go to a Shell filling station, the oil draining interval is advised in mileage. So the one who asked the question, if I get to know the car you are using, I can recommend the oil to use. And whenever you're using a very clean fuel, all the conditions are right, then I can tell you when to drain your oil.
Beautiful and brilliant, Prince. We are going to keep our responses to your questions as brief as possible because of time. I have a question here from Kate Veal on YouTube, and she says, how often do I change my engine oil? I think this is a very popular question that are on the minds of a lot of people. How often do you think a driver should change his or her engine oil?
Good one. So that's what I just explained, but maybe I'll just throw a very brief light on it. As I was saying, your oil change is tied to the type of fuel you use. Okay. That's one. The rate at which you drain the oil. The thing is, if you don't drain your oil at the right time, there will be so much deposits in the engine. So the new oil needs to now go and clean the old one before it starts even on the new deposit, which will be generated. Okay. And two, the nature. If your car is a towing car, your car is used in a very dusty area, on a very hill or mountainous areas, the drain interval will be different compared to maybe a corporate worker who does home to work and church and everything. So how often should I change my engine oil? It's tied to one, the lubricant you use. It's tied to two, the fuel you use. It's tied to three, the rate at which you drain your interval. And four, even the nature of your engine.
Okay, I am certain that your explanation so far answers the next question, which says, how do I know the right oil for my vehicle?
All right. So maybe our next session will throw more light on this, but just to be very brief on the question, every oil comes with something we call API. API will tell you the performance rating of every lubricant, and every performance rating is tied to the model of the car. So if your car was produced in 2010, the right oil for you to use is an oil with an API of, maybe for instance, your car is to use a 5W30. Good one. So you go for the Helix HSA 5W30, but you watch out for an API of an SN or SM+. If your car was produced in 2000, the API for you is maybe an SL or an SM. But the thing is that the API is backwards compatible. So if your car is using an SL, which is having a lower quality, if you get to use the higher one, it should be able to work for your car perfectly and gently. So in the midst of confusion, always look out for the higher API. Although some APIs are not compatible, but most of them are compatible. So always look out for the high API. And the API, maybe I'm using it to make it simple. If you see a S, it's for a petrol engine. If you see a C, it's for a diesel engine. The higher the alphabet, the better the oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. If there are no more questions, I'm just really hoping that you can come through with your questions, because this is your chance to do that. We have another question that says, apart from oil checks, what other routine checks must I do on my vehicle?
Good one. Apart from oil check, which I think you will mean by engine oil, which other checks must I do? Every morning when you wake up, you check your engine oil, you check the level of your coolant, you check your brake and clutch fluid, which is very key, because so many accidents happen all because the brake and clutch fluid was contaminated or was very kind of lower to the optimum level. Now what you do is that you also check your tires as well. So many people are walking or driving on the road with their tires deflated, and that even consumes so much fuel. So please, you check that your tires are okay. And I think with those basic checks, you should be okay. But in terms of any fault that you realize that you cannot, tackle, kindly visit the mechanic, the nearest mechanic, or any of our Shell shops, and they'll attend to you.
Brilliant. I hope that we can keep our questions coming. So there are some questions coming in from YouTube, others on Facebook as well. Makosio Kwafoji says, how do I know the oil is dirty?
Okay, so for dirty oil, let me give this example. Whenever I'm coming to fry my yam, now the oil is very clean. By the time I realize that the oil now changes color into brown or into dark, I question myself, what really caused it? For the yam, what caused the oil to change color is now the heat. That's one. Two, the water getting inside the oil. That's two. And also the salt that you even apply on the yam. That's three. Same thing for the lubricant. What makes it dirty is one, the heat alone. That's one. Whenever the fuel burns, the deposit also kind of causes, harm to the oil, which actually make it dirty, and many other wear materials and many acid and everything. So for you to know, at best, for you to know the oil is dirty, you must take when you say a dirty oil, that means that all the additives are depleted. So you send it to the lab for them to confirm. But currently, we can't do that for all the million cars on the road.
Yeah.
So normally we do by the color and the texture. So if it's very, very, very dark, what it means is that the deposits or the soot particles from the fuel are very saturated. And also you feel that it gets thickened. Whenever it gets thickened and with that dark texture or that dark fuel or that dark side, you can tell the oil is very dirty, so it needs to be changed.
Brilliant. And I think one of the things that can help you, if you're not doing the oil change yourself, when you visit any of our Lube sites, they would actually check the nature of the contents within your engine, the oil, to know there is a, I don't know, is it a dip?
A
small, yes,
it's called a
dipstick. Yeah, so I got it right.
Exactly.
I think I deserve a Shell coupon as well. Or you say I'm at Vivo, so I should forget.
Oh, yeah, you need to
So there's a dipstick they use to check how clean or dirty your oil is. The lube bay attendant does that to check and ask you a few questions. Our people are experts. So they would even engage you right on spot and on site for you to understand certain things. And please feel free, anytime you find yourself in any of our Shell sites or engaging with any of our lube bay attendants, feel free to ask any questions you have, and they can also assist with that.
That's very true, yes. Eunice. Let me just add this little to it. Whenever you attend our service site to maybe fill your tank, we said we give you extra mile services, which is you have the privilege for us to be checking your oil. And the dipstick is used to check the level of oil in your car and also how dirty it is. And aside that, we check your brake and clutch fluid, we wipe your screen, we can check your coolant and any other thing, even your tire as well. And if you are lucky that there is any lube to the service station, you can be worked on. And apart from that, whenever you go to our lube base, maybe assuming that Eunice goes in there to change the oil, you are privileged to be having other free checks, which is the coolant, there is the transmission oil, there is the brake and clutch fluid, the light. So it's a very wonderful service package for anyone who will be servicing at our Shell service station. So I really encourage you that whenever you see, whenever you realize that the oil is dirty, rush to any Shell service station and you'll be given a very wonderful treat.
And you know what? Premium rolls with premium.
That's very
true. All
of
you ladies out there are premium ladies. I don't think you should settle for less. Just join Shell. I mean, Shell is the way to go. Go well with Shell. So if there aren't any questions coming in, I hope there are more. But if there aren't, we will now do the asking, and we hope you get it right so you can secure yourself a slots for our upcoming full launch. Or get yourself a Shell coupon. May the best lady or woman win. Okay, Prince, so I would need your technicalities here. Okay. So we are asking the first question based on the presentation you had with us. Can lubricants be used in extreme temperatures? Both on Facebook and YouTube. The first answer wins. Can lubricants be used in extreme temperatures? Let's see the number of you who paid attention to the presentation on carbon cleaning versus smart lubrication. Your answer may just secure you a slot to the upcoming launch of our new and improved fuels.
Okay, I see an answer there.
No. Okay, no, it's just a comment to say we are premium ladies. We are waiting for the answer. Okay, an answer says yes. Who is the person? Adam Bansa 312. Okay, that was the first answer. Woo! Let's give a clap. Adam, congratulations. You just won yourself a Shell fuel coupon. A Shell coupon that can be used also in our Shell shops. Okay. So Adam Bansa, we are taking note of your name. We would reach out to you and let you have your Shell coupon. Brilliant.
I think
just so we are not biased, we picked that answer from YouTube. So we are switching to Facebook for the next question just to see if the person or the people who are joining on Facebook can get the answer right. Prince, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I think for the question you asked, the simple answer is yes, but now how extreme would the temperature be? Okay. But for simplicity, I can say yes.
Okay. Oh, Akosia says yes, depends on the car though.
Okay, he was trying to go into details.
Okay.
But I think Barbara said yes first.
Yeah, Barbara answered first, so we are giving it to Barbara. And the second question, Facebook audience, I hope you get it right. Of course, you are very wild out there. I just hope you get this right. So the next question says, what's the difference between synthetic and natural lubricants? Prince threw a lot of light on this in his presentation. What's the difference between synthetic and natural lubricants? Are we getting any answer on Facebook? In the next few seconds, if you're not getting the answer on Facebook, we are switching back to YouTube. And YouTube is winning for the day. What's the difference between synthetic and natural lubricants? And please, no one should consult AI for the response.
I'm really enthused for the answer.
Yeah, I'm just waiting patiently.
And you don't have to make it technical. Just come out as simple as you can
exactly. What's the difference between synthetic and natural lubricant? Any response on Facebook? Can we switch to YouTube and see if we have a response from that side?
One said in the comment that ours is often more difficult.
Okay. Any response? If we let Prince answer this question, it means that ticket is gone. Okay. Synthetic has low sulfur content and natural
doesn't.
Okay, synthetic has additives to make the oil lighter and oil doesn't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we can. So the low sulfur content obviously goes for, but it's dicey because even for the mineral or natural oils, the group 3 or group 2 has a low sulfur content, but I think it's right, and we can give it.
Okay, all right. So for a very good attempt, what's the name? Okay, so we'll pick your name because of the distance. We'll pick your name, and then see the person who responded to this very question or attempted to answer, we would reach out to you. Okay, we have another response that said natural fuels are from natural gas. And then we have synthetic lubricants are man-made and last longer with better engine protection, while natural lubricants come from crude oil and need changing more often. That's what you say to them. That is very true. Okay, so between these two people, this is a very technical question, and I think that they have done their best.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Between these two people, one person will get a free slot to the upcoming launch of our new and improved Shell fuels, and the other will get a Shell coupon.
Yeah,
so the closest to the question will get a slot. That's very fair. And the person who attempted to answer will get a Shell coupon.
That's true.
Currently, we are we are done with the Shell coupons. We have already 2 gone. And we have 1 slot taken. So we have 2 slots now. And then, then we are done. Akosia Kwafwodri. This lady is wild. She wants to secure all the packages. Akosia says synthetic is made in the lab.
Yeah, actually, that's what the
obviously, yes. Akosia, I'm sorry, but you are not getting this one. So we've had 2 people who have had to respond to this, and then that's it. Currently, we have 2 slots. Okay, for the upcoming fuel launch by Vivo Energy Ghana. And so it brings me to the next question. What is the most unexpected use for lubricants you've ever had? This is hilarious. I mean, what is the most unexpected use for lubricants you've ever heard of? To many people prior to this engagement, what did you think lubricants were used for? We want to see your thoughts. I mean, be as honest as possible. Prior to this engagement, what did you think lubricants were used for? Do we have any interesting response on Facebook or on YouTube? Maybe this question should be targeted at those of our ladies who don't own cars yet or do not know anything about cars and are still learning. What did you think lubricants were used for?
I think most would think that there is a oil in the engine, but as to whether this or that, they don't know much about it. I think my experience with so far has been they know that there is a lubricant, but do we even change it? Some people even don't know whether to even change their gear oils until the gear stick or the gearbox is not working anymore. Yeah, so basically I maybe fully cleaning.
Okay, someone says for only cleaning. Okay, that is fine. To prevent rust. Okay. Okay, brilliant. That's on YouTube. Can we switch to Facebook to find out if there are any comments on there? Can we switch to Facebook to find out if there are any comments there on the question I just asked? There is no surprise for this. Okay, all right. Prince, I would like
Yes,
you
please.
to ask our audience two very last questions before we go off. The answers to them, those who will be able to give answers to those questions or attempt at answering them. Welcome back from the short break. And so just before we went on the on-and-on break, Prince was just about asking the questions that can secure you a slot with the upcoming launch of our new unlimited Shell fuel. So Prince, you were asking.
Yes, I was asking that I would need the complete name of one of the low sulfur oils we have in the shop. Any one of them.
Can you please repeat the question again?
I was asking that in ending or in closing, I showed two products which have the low sulfur formulation.
Welcome back once again, and apologies for going off unannounced. But we are dealing with machines, and because we are dealing with machines, sometimes there are some technical hitches that are beyond repair in the moment. But we are back. Before Prince goes ahead to ask the question he was asking, I have very interesting comments here to read out. Okay, so when we asked, or when I asked that prior to the engagement today, what did you think lubricants were used for? Someone says, to make the car moving parts work well with less friction. Beautiful. Okay, so Rosalind Team says, I once thought lubricants were just for making engines slippery so they move faster. I don't know why that response sounds so funny in my ears, but anyways, okay, someone says, okay, to lubricate the engine so the car drives smoothly. And okay, another comment says, for sewing machine. Wow. Lubricants are for sewing machine. Okay. Okay, someone also says sewing machine parts. All right, to lubricate the engine as well. Thank you very much for your responses to that question. You give me a laugh. Back to you, Prince. Please go ahead and repeat the question, and let's see if we can get.
I have two questions. So the first one is, can someone name can someone name one of the low sap oils we have in the shop portfolio? Because in closing, I gave two products in the shop portfolio which are low sap. So can anyone name any of them? And also, whilst in response, the two is, can anyone name one post-treatment device in automobile? So any. I think I also show two as well.
There are two slots. Two slots. I just don't want to give you all the juice, but you wouldn't want to miss a slot to the upcoming full launch. Please don't. Please don't. Do whatever you can to give a right answer to the question.
So the question again, name one low sap oil in the Shell portfolio, and also two, name any of the post-treatment devices I spoke of in the presentation.
Name any of the post-treatment devices named in the presentation. Any of the post-treatment devices. Any, not specific, any. Do we have any response on Facebook or on YouTube? Okay.
Okay, I can see one answer there.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Helix Ultra W020 SP, a synthetic base oil with very low viscosity for. Okay. Helix Ultra 0W20 SP, a synthetic base oil with very low viscosity for modern engines, improved fuel efficiency, and wear protection. That is the response
this is a full answer.
Yes, for the second question, the first question.
The low sap oils.
Okay, all right. So please, we'll take note of the respondent, and you have just secured yourself a slot to the upcoming of the new and improved premium Shell fuels. Yes. I'm sure you will share your experience very soon once we get you the ticket. And for the second question, second one, is there any response? Name any post-treatment device
in automobiles. I think anybody saying, remembering this should be able to tell what one of them
Maybe
is.
you should just show it again to the camera.
I showed this and I called the name of this. So if you remember, you can get the slot, the last slot.
Going.
I think our time is limited, so we count up to.
Yes. Let's count. Let's make a count from 10.
Okay, 10.
Together.
Okay.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my God. Is no one getting the slots for the launch? 1. Okay. Catholic what?
Catalytic converter.
Converter.
I think this is another full answer. This never came from it was said, but it's fine.
Okay,
They
it was
attempt,
said
they
they
attempt, yeah.
attempt. Okay, so please,
Yeah.
we are out of slots. Please note down the second person who responded to the
Yeah.
second question
Yeah.
as well. Thank you so much. It's been exciting and great having all of you join the very first webinar. I think it's interesting to note that the turnout was great.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's beautiful. This is not the end of this journey. We are in full drive with you ladies to help you learn, to help you grow, and to help you become confident so that you will be able to fix it like a queen and fix it with safety, and then with confidence. So please be on the watch out for the next webinar because we'll be sharing details. If you haven't joined our community or network on WhatsApp yet, please ask a friend to ask a friend and ask another friend for the link to join. If you're interested, you can also show your interest in the comment section if you're not part of our WhatsApp platform, and then we can share the link with you to join for all the updates relating to She'llFix safely, confidently, with skill. It's been great having you, Prince,
Yeah,
and
Eunice.
doing this with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of people have learned so much.
So much.
And
So much.
they would be in full anticipation of what's next.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And just as we did today with a surprise package, you never know. So don't miss a webinar for She'llFix.
Good one. So for my last words, every use of the Helix HH8 ECT or the Helix Ultra is going to make the world a better place for us, for our children, and for the next generation. Let's come together and make the world a better place for you and I.
Beautiful. So we see you again. This is Vivo Energy Ghana, the exclusive marketers and distributors of Shell branded fuels and lubricants. So we meet you next time. Bye.
Bye.